Okay. Hi. So as I said, I'm going to record this video, which obviously isn't exactly live. And you should see my computer screen and hear me react as I pause the video. So let me share my screen with you of this debate, and you might see me speeding through it because a lot of the beginning part is kind of bullshit and you don't need to know about it or see it or hear it. So let me share my screen, specifically the YouTube thing. Okay, so just to recap, this is the 5th District Congressional Democratic debate put on by IMLS, which, yes, before you ask, is the indivisible group that I frankly dislike the leaders of, because I think they are not progressive as they need to be. But that's my 2 cents. I won't talk more about that, but let me know if you have any questions throughout my video. I'm going to post a link to the candidates in the description of the video, and I'm also going to answer any questions you might have, and I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge. All right.
It's live right now, right? No one's watching, so you can.
Let's go a little further.
About sort of seeing a fact-based and bipartisan approach to legislation. I'm Kristen Seal, the bold progressive voice, also running in the 168th House District. I live in Media Borough. I'm running because 52%.
Let's go a little further.
We are only going to have one.
Oh, yeah, let's go a little further.
Oh, I will share with you.
Yeah, let's go a little further.
Now,
Ooh.
since it was emailed to all of you, so if someone has it, find it for me. Now we are going to let each candidate talk to us, introduce themselves to us, and tell us about themselves. This is not the issue part of the night. You may stand up, you may walk around, you may stay seated, you may come to the podium, whichever you prefer, but you're going to have 1 minute, unless you want to spend the card and spend more time. And what we're going to do, so they're not always following each other in alphabetical order, is I'm going to try to randomly pick one person, and even then, we're just not going to go boom, boom, boom. We're going to go every other to the right the first time, and every other to the left the second time. So does anyone want to volunteer to go first? I saw David first, I'm sorry, right next to me. So how long are you going to spend? 1 minute 30, that's what one card buys you.
Hi everyone, I'm David Wertheim. I'm a journalist.
So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, because I know some of you that are watching this may or may not know who these candidates are. Not that I think what they do really should entirely impact your decision, because I don't at all. But check them out.
Facts. So I want to tell you a few hard facts about my family. A few years ago, my mom, is from Haverford, born in New York, started to fall a lot. One day she even forgot my wedding day. That wasn't like her. Years later, in 2016, we got a diagnosis, PSP, rare degenerative neurological disorder. My mom now has the care that she needs, and she even gets hospice. My family's really pulled together to care for her. But she gets medicated, and she needs it. We need it. That's the only thing standing between my family and financial disaster. So, I think about Donald Trump, and I think about Republicans in Congress, and sometimes I think about what might say about my family behind our backs. They might call us moochers. They might call us losers. My family's done everything right. I'm proud of us. And I'm running for Congress for the dignity and self-respect of not only families like mine, but every family in this community that's one phone call away, that's one bad diagnosis away, that's one unexpected layoff away from financial challenges and hardships and maybe disaster. I'm running for Congress because I want to thicken, not thin, the net beneath us that allows us to go retrain and retool, that allows us to start a business like I had the chance to do, that allows us to do wonderful things together. So I look forward to getting to know you, and thank you for your time.
So every other to the right, and I meant looking at the audience. So somehow, 1, 2. That means George, you're second. Wireless mic.
I'll come over there.
You want me to hold them for you?
I'll just use this. Sure. Thank everybody for coming. This is a fantastic event, and I think we're all going to be pretty much in agreement on most of the issues. The issue, though, I'm going to have to make a tough decision on is who do we send up against the Republican in November? I've spent my entire life in the 5th Congressional District. I was born and raised in South Philadelphia, and the last 30 years I've spent in Delaware County. I was the first Democrat chosen to run in the rigged 7th District. I was selected to run. I decided to run. I wanted to run. I had the passion, the energy, the experience to do it. And I did it, and the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee made my campaign red to blue, which was the top-tier national rating. We had a shot to win. I worked my heart out that year in 2012, but the district was rigged. The lines were rigged. So I want a chance to run.
I wanted to just pause him for a second. So he used the words he was selected to run. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how this works, but last time I checked, you choose to run. You shouldn't be selected to run. You should choose to run. That's a personal decision. And I mean, he was selected to run, and then he chose to run. So who was he selected by? I'm just curious. I mean, I've had plenty of conversations with George Beatty. He's a kind enough person. I'm just curious why he was selected to run at that time and then chose to run. It's just a little curious to me. That's all.
In a fair district. And I think I've earned that chance in 2012 the way I've worked. Also, I'm a lifelong Democratic activist. I am the chairman of the Radical Democratic Party, a vice chairman since 2004, and
Nancy knows I won't give him any extra time.
that's right. This is one of our great people, and
Thank you, George.
all right, well, thank
Unless
you very
you're
much.
head coach.
You know what? I'll say one more part, because I think it's one more part. I went to South Philadelphia High School, public school, and then I got a mayor's scholarship to the University of Pennsylvania. Then I went to Villanova Law School, and I've been a Democratic activist my entire life. And I'm happy to be here, and I think I've earned the shot for this primary election. So thank you very, very much for being here.
See how much fun it is to pay a card? Yeah, here or there?
Girl, you know what? Go ahead and give you a card now.
You're giving me a card right now.
So this person about to speak, his name is Daniel Boyle. Apparently he's running as well. I don't know if I even saw his name on this list. Oh no, he's listed. Okay, all right. So cool. All right.
All right, there we go. If only paperwork.
Oh my God.
Thank you. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Dan Boyle. Excuse me. I'm the youngest of 7. I was born and raised in Chadds Ford. My father was an educator. Once an educator, always an educator. My mom was a homemaker. Probably, arguably, the toughest job of anybody in the world. I went to school at Penn State. Did 2 years at Delaware County campus. I graduated from the main campus with a Bachelor of Science in MIS. I then worked for a few years in operations. I then went to law school at Widener Law School. After law school, I went and practiced law, representing plaintiffs for several years. After that, I went back to school. I got my Master's of Law in Taxation, practiced tax law for the last several years. Went back to school, working on my MBA. Will have my MBA in about 3 months. All of this accumulates to help me with my understanding of the legal world and the business world. I think all of these things are very important to a candidate. I'd like to thank you for coming out tonight, to supporting me, supporting all of us. I mean, we're all here for essentially the same reason. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna be honest, don't listen for a minute. Got Mark back. Every other, that means Margot.
All right. The next person that's speaking is Margot Davidson. She is running, well, you can't see me right now, but let me actually stop the share for a minute. Okay, so now you can see me. The next person that's going to speak is her name. Her name is Margot Davidson. I've actually spoken with her rather violently recently about there was a Keith Ellison People's Rally or whatever it was that I was incredibly disappointed by because he didn't touch any policy or nothing. There was no policy, nothing mentioned like that. And I spoke with her about the event and I asked her what she thought of it. And she's like, oh, it was good. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but why do you think that? I thought it was awful. And she's like, well, it was very motivating. I'm sorry, but when you don't have a message as Democrats, which Keith Ellison didn't have a message, how is it a motivating speech? She didn't touch on any policy. And she's like, well, just because you didn't like what you heard. Seriously? He's the DNC vice chair. I can't. So let's get back to this debate. And I'm going to share the screen again. Okay.
Just in case, so I won't interrupt you. There you go.
Hello, I'm State Representative Margot Davidson, and I am the first woman, the first African American, and the first Democrat to represent my seat in the 164th Legislative District. In the red wave of 2010, when there was a tsunami against Democrats across the country, I was one of only 11 in the country to take a Republican seat that year. I am battle tested and I am ready to go. I have not yet declared my candidacy for Congress, but there is a grassroots movement of folks that are asking me to run, that are begging me to run, because they believe that a woman of color should be on the ballot and should be running in the 5th Congressional District. And so I'm here today for the culmination of my public service. This is really a culmination of all that I've given to communities across Delaware County and Philadelphia. I started out my career as a broadcast journalist. I believe that people deserve the truth. They should have great information. They should have good information. Truth matters. And that was the hallmark of a journalistic career. I moved from there in the crack cocaine epidemic of the 80s in Philadelphia. I started a nonprofit organization to help children whose parents were addicted to drugs. That organization still serves Philadelphia today. And this, as a public servant, I believe that the Republican machine in Delaware County did not serve the people, and the people deserve to be served. And that's why if I run, I will run for that reason. Thank you.
Okay, so let's stop for a minute. So the next person that's going to speak, his name is Thaddeus Kirkland. I don't know if you heard it, because it's kind of maybe faint. I'm not sure if you can even entirely hear that, and I hope that you can. But let's go back and share the screen so you can see him as well.
you, and good evening once again. Thank you, Indivisible, for hosting us, and thank you, Marvel Newtown Democrats, for inviting us into your house. I do want to recognize the chairman of the Delaware County Democratic Party, David Landau. As stated, my name is Thaddeus. I'm a pastor of Community Baptist Church. I've been pastoring for the last 10 years. I'm also married to the same woman for the last 41 years, Susie Kirkland. We have 5 beautiful daughters. We have 12 beautiful grandchildren. I have lived in the city of Chester all of my life. I've lived in the county of Delaware all of my life. I've served in the House of Representatives for 24 years. And during that time, I had the pleasure.
All right. So this guy has served in the House of Representatives for 22 years. He's a pastor, and he's a Democrat. I'm sorry. He doesn't have my vote. Not in the slightest. And if you've been in the House of Representatives for 22 years, it is time for you to go. I believe in term limits so people can stay connected to their community, because it's hard, right? Washington's a bubble. You hear that all the time. But let's let him continue to speak.
Chairing Tourism and Recreation Committee, being the majority chair at one point in time in my career. And if some of you might know or may not know that committee is the second largest industry, tourism and recreation, second largest industry in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Also chaired the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus, the first person outside of Philadelphia to ever do that. So,
as a mother, a former federal prosecutor, and a healthcare advocate, I believe I have the breadth and depth of experience to represent this district. When I was a federal prosecutor—
Hold on. That was weird. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So it looks like it skipped ahead or something. I don't know how that happened.
as stated, my name is Thaddeus Kirkland. I'm a pastor of Community Baptist.
how important it is and the ways in which
The Black Caucus, the first person outside of Philadelphia to ever do that. So,
as a mother, a former federal—
Okay, so that was weird. It just is a very crazy skip from Thaddeus to another woman her name is Ashley Lunkenheimer. People like her because she's a lesbian, which I'm sorry, but to me, that's not too special, given the fact that I'm a result of artificial insemination and my mom is a log cabin Republican and a lesbian. So I don't think that is very special at all. But let's let her speak because she is important in this race, I guess. So let's share the screen again.
prosecutor and a healthcare advocate, I believe I have the breadth and depth of experience to represent this district. When I was a federal prosecutor, I helped take assault weapons off the streets. I have literally held them in front of juries and seen their reactions to this killing machine. I have had the horrible displeasure of watching videos of drive-by shootings and murders with those weapons. I have also worked as a healthcare advocate, expanding Medicaid and Medicare in this state. And I'm familiar with how important it is and the ways in which we keep our seniors and our communities longer and help our communities become healthier. As a woman married to another woman, my family has experienced hate. Like so many groups in America are experiencing hate. Hate that is coming from the top of our government, from our president. It's hard to say that. And so I want you to know that I will stand for you, I will fight for you, and I look forward to meeting all of you.
Okay, so the next person that's going to speak, his name is Dan Maroff. I don't know enough about him. I met him a couple of times. I've been trying to schedule an interview with him. But let's move on and let him talk.
So I'm Dan Muroff. This is wonderful. Thank you all for coming tonight, for supporting this effort. I just want to take 1 minute, candidate for the 5th Congressional District, a little bit about us. Look, Molly and I got into this race about a year ago, and it was kind of lonely, and it's kind of exciting now. You got all these people running. It's changed a lot, flavor of it, once the district became more democratic. But I'll tell you, the thing that's going to matter in a district that is so solidly democratic, and this district is, who has the most experience? Who has the right experience? I took on the NRA as president of Ceasefire PA. We beat them. I took on big polluters as president of Conservation Voters of Pennsylvania. We beat them too. I was also a ward leader in the city of Philadelphia, the most progressive ward in the city of Philadelphia, the 9th Ward Democratic Committee, Chestnut Hill, Mount Airy. Highest vote turnout in the city. I'll be real.
And would you like to name me?
I'll give you 30 seconds. And the highest. Thank you. Most vote-rich, highest percentage turnout in the city, and we helped drive the effort back in 2015 to turn the Supreme Court democratic, and that's why we have what we have today. Better district lines. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay. Oh, hold on. All right. So, all right. Sorry, chocolate. No, it's probably really gross. Hershey Kisses. It's important to eat them. So, the next person that's going to talk is the person I am basically supporting in the 5th Congressional District Race. Her name is Molly Sheehan. She's, I think, great. She is a bioengineerist, and she's a mom. She's a scientist. But let me not sway your opinion too much. Why don't you guys let her speak, or why don't I let her speak so you can hear her out and I'll respond.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for hosting this event.
Oh, hold on. I think I did not share the screen again.
This way to influence your member of Congress.
Wait,
Members
what?
of Congress.
How the hell did that?
You're gonna just hold it up there.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for hosting this event on such short notice. It's amazing. My name is Molly Sheehan. I'm a cancer researcher with a PhD in biophysics at the University of Pennsylvania. I live in South Philadelphia with my family, and we're moving to Upper Darby soon, hopefully. And I got into this race back in April, I did, because I think that we need a new vision for this party. And I think that now that we have a solidly Democratic seat, this is our chance to say,
fuck you, Lisa.
I'm going to vote for.
I'm sorry, you guys. She is such a centrist. I'm not talking about Molly. I'm talking about the person that one of the people that runs IMLS South. And it just irks me.
The person that most aligns with my values. I'm going to vote for the person that's going to fight for me in Washington. I'm going to vote for the person that has bold ideas, that isn't just going to say a tagline. And I have real plans. I got in early and I've been out there with you for 10 months. I've been out there outside Ian's office with you at the resistance groups. I've been listening to you, and frankly, some of you have pushed me on my policy. I would say I've been out there listening and responsive to constituents. Even Peggy, I've learned all sorts from her about smart guns. And I'm learning from your needs, and I have that commitment as a representative. And I'll give you a card. I got into this race because I want to push for single-payer health care, a real plan to it, for early childhood education.
Did any of the other candidates say that? Nope.
things like paid family leave and federally funded universal pre-K.
These are policy positions. Did any of the other candidates say that? And look at their faces. Just saying.
And to push for a real tech and new manufacturing sector for southeastern Pennsylvania that we deserve. We have the innovation, bringing a real robust jobs economy for people at every level of education to have real careers that work for them. And so I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to work for you, and I will continue working tirelessly for the 5th District. Thank you.
And you know why she will? She's one of the only candidates not taking corporate money. And she's strong on policy positions. Is that enough reason for you to vote for her? I would think so.
My name's Larry Arata.
Okay, so this next person that's going to talk, his name is Larry Arata. I'm sorry, my dog. All right, the next person that's going to talk, his name is Larry Arata. I don't know too much about him. He got in the race maybe a week ago. I don't know. It's just nuts.
I'm Tim, born and raised in there my whole life. I played football at Harvard High School, was all Delco, went to Princeton University, studied politics, and spent 20 years selling software, application software throughout the country and internationally. During those 20 years, I always thought about so some of those thoughts I had as a senior at college was to become a teacher. And at every moment of my career, that those thoughts revisited me. And when my mom found out about 15 years ago that she was stage 4 cancer, she said, if that's what you always wanted to do, if that's what you always thought God wanted to do, you should do it, because I was guaranteed tomorrow. So I sat with my wife, who's here, and we talked about how we could take a $100,000 pay cut and spend another 20 grand or so to get my master's in education so I could become a public school teacher. And I wanted to be a public school teacher in Philadelphia, where we needed the most. I benefited from an outstanding public school education in Harvard. I had great teachers who turned me in the right direction when I really wasn't going in the right direction in 8th and 9th grade. My teachers, my coaches made all the difference in my life. And I wanted to do that for my students and for my athletes. So for the last 15 years, I've been teaching history and English and coaching wrestling and football in the city of Philadelphia. And besides marrying Heather, it's the best decision I ever made in my life. I've been an active Democrat and an active environmentalist my whole adult life. When they were going to build in Chester, an awful incinerator, I was there with those residents campaigning against it. When we lost that campaign, I sat with Greg Vitale and with DER to make sure that they had a household collection program to make sure that toxics didn't get into that incinerator.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, the next person that's going to speak, her name is Mary Ellen Balkunas. Apparently she's run in several elections over the past 6 or so years. I don't know enough about her, but I know that one of my Facebook friends does, and hopefully I can get in touch with her as well.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Mary Ellen Balkunas, a political scientist and a Fulbright scholar. I taught political science at LaSalle University for 25 years. I've been a nonprofit executive and an assistant to Mayor Good in Philadelphia. I was also asked to run for Congress in 2014. The party told me that I was going to lose. They said that
she's asked to run for Congress. What the hell? I'm sorry. That doesn't make sense to me. You should choose to run for Congress, not be asked. Choose.
You're going to run in a gerrymandered district. Little did I realize it was the most gerrymandered district in the nation. In fact, in a federal court case, I was asked to testify, and I learned so much about the red mapping, how sophisticated it was. I realized that I never had a chance to win, that George never had a chance to win. that the system was really rigged against us. So I fought it. Back in 2015, when I kicked off my 2014 campaign, I did a gerrymandering tour. I went through all the 5 counties. The author of David Daly wrote about me in his book. He followed me during the campaign. He called me a heroine for democracy, running against the odds. I ran again in 2016. We thought we could defeat gerrymandering, but again, as I said, there was no way a Democrat could win in that district. But I believe I did a great job of representing you.
I'm going to disagree with that 100%, but what do I know? Maybe I don't know because I don't have that experience, obviously. I know that my district, the former 7th Congressional District, was nuts. But I also know that if you're right on policy that is bipartisan, you might do well.
And I've been working on issues. I did a great campaign. In my primary, I defeated a DCCC candidate by 75% to 24%.
All right, that's a pretty good thing because it shows she's not connected to the DCCC.
And I am the only candidate in this race that has gone through a congressional primary. So I have excellent name recognition. I've been on the ballot 4 times for Congress, 2 primaries, 2 general elections. I've run for state committee. People on Democratic state committee know me. I passed 2 resolutions. Yes. A woman got to do what a woman got to do. I introduced 2 resolutions. One resolution to increase the number of women in federal, state, and local office, because when Hillary lost and Katie lost, and all 4 of us women lost for Congress, and we received not a penny from the state party, I asked that we receive money, and the resolution passed that women should be given substantial funding when they run. And I had a hard time getting it through.
No one should be getting funded from the state party, from the DCC, from the DNC, from any of that. It should all be public funding. Transparent funding. That's my 2 cents.
Through the Rules Committee, but it passed unanimously. I also worked on the resolution, the Code of Civil. Sure? Yes, go ahead. So I worked on the code to against harassment, and that also passed unanimously. So I'm here for you. My issues are even more important now. I've been fighting for the gun issue. I received the Chester County Coalition to Prevent Gun Violence. In fact, I received Governor Wolf's endorsement. I was endorsed by the Philadelphia Inquirer. I had the Congressional Progressive Caucus endorsement, the Planned Parenthood, National Planned Parenthood endorsement, and the National Organization for Women's endorsement. Thank you very much.
All right, she seems pretty cool, pretty good. She's a good candidate to technically support if you were to support a candidate. I mean, outside of Molly Sheehan. I think Molly Sheehan should be supported, but that's just my opinion.
Thank you. My name is Shelley Chauncey. I took my name tag off because I planned on making sure you remember who I am. I am a mother of 3 small children. They attend Delaware County Public Schools. My youngest we adopted 2 years ago, and he was recently diagnosed with special needs. His special needs stem from the fact that he was born addicted to opioids. I'm also a cancer survivor, very recent cancer survivor, and I am in this race because I know what it means to be an average citizen and an average voter in this district, in this state, and in this country. What distinguishes me between all of the other candidates up here, because frankly we're all going to pretty much agree on all of the issues, is that I have spent the last 15 years as a counterintelligence officer with the CIA, and I come with a breadth of foreign policy and national security experience, which plays a critical role in all domestic policy issues. And without an understanding of what is happening in foreign policy and in the government that's there, we can't do anything on it.
All right. I wanted to interrupt her speech for a minute. I'll go back to it in a second. I'm going to stop the screen share for a second. Okay, so Shelley Chauncey. She was appointed by the DNC and the DCC to run. She is taking corporate money. She is a former CIA operative. She is, according to some people that I've spoken with locally in the area, she has changed her answer on different questions several times, and she's done so because some answers have been a bit sketchy for some people to want to support her. So she was told to change her answers, basically, is what I'm telling you. And I don't think that you really should support someone that was told to change their answers based on what they said previously. I'll let her finish, but she's not someone that you really should be supporting, in my opinion. So let's share the screen again.
On a local level. I have, how much time do I have?
4 seconds.
Okay. So I want to thank you, and I would be honored to serve you as your representative.
Hold on for 1 second, guys. My dog wanted to go out again. All right. So let's see who the next person talking is.
Hi, I'm Julie Ebel, and I grew up in Orland.
Okay, so this is Julie Ebel. I don't know a lot about her. Let's let her talk.
Montgomery County, and I've lived in Montgomery, Chester, and Delaware County almost all of my life. I have my PhD in chemistry from Villanova. I worked for the DuPont company for 17 years before I left to start my own company. I sold that company and retired from that in June of 2016. And full disclosure, up until very recently, I was registered Republican. Like many people, I woke up the morning after the election and I said, oh my God, what has happened? When I knew that I was going to have to do something. And when I marched with the scientists down Market Street, and I heard that chant that said, tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. And I said, I have got to do something more. This was my call to action.
So this one was previously apparently registered as a Republican. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna, on some level, that might actually even attract Republicans to vote for her because maybe people know her name. But I don't know. So let's let her talk.
So what I feel now in my heart is that this is the time for me to step up to the plate, to do my civic duty. I have been a successful businesswoman, and I am now a proud Democrat. I hope I'm part of the wave that's coming of people who woke up and said, oh my God, this is not the administration that represents me.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
All right, so this next person that's going to talk, his name is Richard Laser. Again, don't know enough about him. Let's let him talk.
I want to thank our host for tonight. I want to thank everybody here for coming out. My name is Rich Laser, and I think everybody in this room knows someone like me. I grew up in a working class neighborhood in a union household. My father was a sheet metal worker. My mother worked at the local doctor's office. I live in South Philadelphia with my wife Lindsay and my 2 kids, John and Abigail. I want to know who's representing us. We know the NRA, we know big business has representation in Washington, but what about us? 2 weeks ago, I resigned my position with Mayor Kenny as a deputy mayor in his administration. I was really proud over the last 2 years, what we.
So he is already involved in politics somehow, which could be a good thing, could also not be a good thing. I don't really necessarily like that someone has been involved in politics necessarily exactly, because if you look at what's happened over the past 2 years, not great things. Some, but I think that maybe we need a little more progressive things to occur.
Accomplished. We've rolled out a quality pre-K program for over 2,000 students in Philadelphia. We rolled out.
What about a universal pre-K program in Philadelphia?
Community schools all across the city in struggling neighborhoods. We rolled out a workforce strategy plan to roll it out in our neighborhoods that were hit hardest by poverty. We're attacking criminal justice reform with MacArthur Green. This is something that's very important to me, and I really want to earn your vote. And I want to represent you in Congress. I want to thank you again for being out here tonight and listening to all us candidates. Thank you so much.
So this person that's about to talk, her name is Lindy Lee. She's pretty huge. I don't know enough about her, but I know that she's pretty widely known.
Hi, good evening. Only in America can someone who came from nothing run for Congress. I'm Lindy Lee, the granddaughter of literate rice farmers in a first.
Hold on, you guys. I have to make a quick call. I know this is a little unorthodox, but I think my dog might be missing. All right, I will be right back. Mom? You coming in? Okay. Okay. Sorry about that, you guys. Hold on. Let's get back to Lindy Lee now.
Generation American who came to this amazing country at age 5 with just a few dollars. English is my second language. I'm running for Congress so that you and your family can live your own version of the American dream. Our democracy was hijacked by special interests long before Russia got involved. We've institutionalized bribery. I'd love to do something about climate change, but I can't because Big Oil and ExxonMobil are in the way. I'd love to do something about gun violence and to prevent another Sandy Hook, but I can't because the NRA is in the way. For every single thing that we care about, there's a special interest standing in the way.
Okay, I like that somehow she's talking about money and politics in a little bit of a powerful way, which is kind of neat. I like that. Because it shows that she's at least strong, you know?
It's time for integrity. It's time for a new Congress.
On the other hand, it does seem like her speech is a little bit proctored, and that's something that I don't like. It seems a little polished. And I don't think we need a polished speaker so much as we need someone who has progressive policy positions. But on the other hand, having a polished speaker and a strong speaker and someone that's going to like fight hard, in Congress, it's kind of important.
Congress and a new generation of leadership. Serving and helping you would be the greatest honor of my life. Thank you so much.
All right, so this next person that's going to talk, her name is Mary Gay Scanlon. I'm not going to say I don't know much about her because I don't. She's just not someone I'm going to support. But let's check her out and let her talk.
So I'm Mary Gay Scanlon. I'm at 34. I live in Swarthmore. Live there with my husband and formerly my 3 children, but they're all out of the house now, which is one of the reasons it makes it a good time for me personally to try to run for Congress. As I mentioned, we've lived there for 24 years. I came to the area originally to go to the University of Pennsylvania Law School. After law school, I became a trial lawyer, did that for a while, and then I went into the public interest sector. I had already been doing pro bono work for a number of years, representing children in the abuse and neglect system. I went to work for the Education Law Center of Pennsylvania. And the purpose of that organization is to make sure that every public school student in the Commonwealth has access to a good education. So we worked with Good Schools PA, with a lot of different groups. We had a long-standing class action in the city of Chester trying to reform the very, very broken school district of Chester Upland. We did have the distinction of getting the first fine ever assessed against the Commonwealth Department of Education for failing to meet the needs of kids. But unfortunately, then the Corbett administration came in, and their solution to the problems in Chester was to put in charter schools and to charterize as much of that school district as possible. And we know what a disaster that's been. I left the Education Law Center because I had an opportunity to do something different. For the last 15 years, I've been pro bono counsel at a national law firm. And there I give away tens of millions of dollars worth of free legal services to poor people and to civil rights. Yes, take another card. Yes. So I give away free legal services, and we work on things like providing representation for people who are about to be deported and otherwise wouldn't have it. We provide representation to people seeking clemency. We had 29 of our clients got presidential clemency under President Obama. So 3 times in my life, I've really been spurred to step outside of my job role and to take some public action. And the first time was 18 years ago after the Columbine shootings. At that point, I charged school buses to my credit card and took 90 of my neighbors down to the Million Mile March. And I've stayed involved with the gun control activities since then. The second time was when our school district had a bad, thank you, when our school district had a really bad construction project. And Francine Belay knows all about it because she was the teacher rep at the time. We had kids in the middle of construction. It was a disaster. And at that point, we couldn't get answers from the administration. So I ran for school board and served 2 terms with the Wallingford-Swarthmore School Board, was president, served on a tax commission as well there. And the 3rd time has been this year. Since the inauguration, my job has been much more difficult. We've been representing immigrants who are threatened with deportation. We've been representing a variety of voting rights groups around the country because of the constant threat from gerrymandering, strict voter ID laws, etc. So, yes, one more, and then I'll be done. January 19th, all of a sudden, I was no longer going to be in the 1st Congressional District because the state Supreme Court threw out the congressional districts. So that was one thing. The second thing is the next morning, Congressman Meehan's on the front page of the New York Times for yet another Me Too incident. So we had the collision of the Me Too issues, which have been very close to my heart. I think probably every woman in this room has been subjected to sexual harassment at some point. And then we also had the voting rights issues. So that was it. That's the point at which I decided I had to run. Thank you.
We made it, right? That's everyone? Amazing, right?
Okay, so that was everyone who talked, or everyone running. At least they know who they are, so let's talk about their issues now.
Candidates, you have water either under your seats or on the tables behind you and some candy. There's some water and some pretzels at the end there. Are there people who've been coming in who would like seats? If you have an empty seat next to you, please raise your hand one more time. Please move in and get a seat. You don't need to stand. And I want to remind people at the end of the night, you will have opportunities to sign petitions. You can only sign 1 petition for Congress. You'll only be able to sign 1 of their petitions. And we do have at least 1 notary here. So any of you who've been collecting signatures for other candidates, if you want to get it notarized, you'll be able to do that at the end. Holly, next slide. So now we are on to the dating game. Now I have my notes. You guys, I think we need you to try to use microphones. You're going to want to try to unburden yourself of all the things you're holding except your yes, your no, and your waffle. And I'm sorry, on short notice, the only way we could elevate you was with bar stools, so there's no tables in front of you. We need to go rapid fire so we can get a lot of information. If you are a millennial under 35, please put your yes up. When I say hands, use your yes. We have 3 millennials.
Molly Sheehan's a millennial in the race. I mean, there's 3, I guess, but.
Gen Xers, 35 to 53. Baby boomers. Up to, there you go, baby boomers. Anyone over 65?
Honestly, can we get to the issues?
Please, a show of hands, who lives in the 5th Congressional District right now? Who does not live in the 5th? Right now, you do not. You're showing a yes, Molly. Oh, I guess yes, you don't live in the 5th. Correct. Thank you. Yes. And those of you who do not live in the 5th, did you live in the 7th or the 1st? Do you plan to move into the 5th? Yes, yes, yes. All 3 of you plan to move in. Who has ever lived in the city of Philadelphia? Because we all know, everyone in this room, anywhere you went after the Super Bowl, where'd you say you were from? Right? Okay. Who has ever lived in Delaware County?
Oh my God, why do these questions matter? Oh, all right.
Who has ever lived in Montgomery County? Who has already moved to get into this race? To get into the race? Dan. Who left a job to get into this race? Wow. So, okay, really quickly, we're going to pass this mic. Those of you who have that yes up, if you don't have it up, you don't have to skip. We're just going to pass it. If you left a job to get into the race, please tell us the job you left.
I was entrepreneur in residence at the Lenfest Institute for Journalism in Philly, bringing new innovations into new voices into the media ecosystem. It's the organization that owns the Inquirer.
I'm on a leave from a postdoctoral fellowship in bioengineering at the University of Pennsylvania, where I do cancer research.
Morgan Stanley, which allowed me to see firsthand why we need Dodd-Frank and Glass-Steagall.
Amara Heldertoss, where I was working in Medicaid expansion, and it's a government-funded program, and so therefore I left so that I could run for this district.
Deputy Mayor for Labor under Mayor Jim Kennedy, where I handle all labor policy for the city of Philadelphia.
Simultaneously, I left my job as a counterintelligence officer with the CIA, as well as an attorney working with the Pennsylvania election law firm fighting gerrymandering.
Hi, thank you. I was Chief Operations Officer of Council Consultants, which is a business and consulting firm.
Mary Ellen Balchunas, I gave up my tenure to run full-time in a campaign in 2016. Thank you all. Anyone else leave a job? It's pretty amazing the job safe left, right? Okay, so you should have a wireless mic on each side. Holly, you have that wireless mic? Okay, you have a wireless mic on each side. You're going to have to work with me here. Show of hands. Who has seen the Mummers Parade?
Oh, dear God. Can we get to the stupid questions?
Live. Seen it. Watched it.
What the hell?
Okay. They've seen it live. Who's been in the Mummers Parade?
Who cares?
I'm giving it to you.
The Joker Saints Brigade.
George?
I've been a string band for 42 years, and I still play tenor sax.
Who cares? The fact that you play tenor sax isn't going to help me afford a place to live. The fact that you've seen the Mummers Parade live isn't going to help me get health care coverage if I don't have a job when I'm done graduate school. which, by the way, is in June.
Okay, ready? Eagles or Phillies? We don't need that. Eagles? Who wants? Do we need a cheer? No, we don't have time. We're gonna pass the mic. This time we're gonna go from Larry that way and from Richard
Honestly,
that way. Yes, Mike. What is your talent or your sport?
You gotta be kidding me.
Talent or sport?
What's my talent or sport?
Yes. What is your talent or what sport do you?
How does this impact anything? My God. I have to go ahead.
I also like to bake. I ran competitively in high school and college on championship teams. I ran 7 marathons, ultramarathons, and I play guitar and now the ukulele thanks to my 3-year-old. I'm a mom. I play all of them. That's feeling
Give it one time. I've been a Peace Corps volunteer, so I speak advanced Mandarin.
All right, so we're ending the talent thing. Yay, we're ending the talent thing. This is a load of shit.
I get you running for Congress and Bill Watson. Okay, listen carefully to this question. I'm going to give you all 3 parts. You're going to raise your hand once, the yes, I guess. And I've been asked for the back that you raise it really high because they can't see your answers when they're right here in front of you. Ready? Oh, you can't see them if they don't fit. Some of them can't get in and out of these bar stools. So we're going to, do you cook dinner, load the dishwasher, or bring home the takeout?
Oh my God.
Cook dinner.
What the hell is this kind of question?
Probably since January 2016, the Hill or Politico.
All right, hold on. That was actually a good question. Whatever it was. Let's go to the next question.
Show of hands, heaven high. Have you ever lived in another country? Lived, not visited. Wow. One word. What country? What country?
China.
You need to pass your wireless.
Sorry. Scotland. Uganda.
Wow.
England and China.
Fuck you, Lisa. I'm sorry.
France.
You guys have one on the other side? Anyone live on the other end? We must have a mic over there. Ollie took it. There we go.
Barbados and Taiwan.
Sweden. Interesting, huh? Okay. Get ready to pass the mics. This time, hand the mics to, we're going to go the other way. We're going to start with Thaddeus on that side. Pass that one there. Pass this one to David. What is your favorite source of news? Favorite source of news?
I probably respect the New York Times the most.
NPR.
Probably since January 2016, the Hill or Politico.
NPR.
Terry Gross, fresh air.
Oh, that's hard. Probably, I want to say Rachel Maddow right now.
No! No!
I knew I was aligned with Ashley because I go with Rachel Maddow.
Ew.
Who's over there? New York Times and Washington Post.
NPR and my 11 and 12-year-old.
That's NPR.
New York Times and MSNBC.
Ew, 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 ew!
Never Fox. Probably NPR. NPR every day, PBS News every night, Inquirer every morning.
Thank you. Okay. You made it through round 2 of the dating game. Next,
Mom, I'm doing something right now.
Okay, sorry.
the candidate is going to speak for only 30 seconds. Next slide, please. About, next slide. Next slide. About what, no, one more. About, before. About one core Democratic issue. We can count, right? They get to talk about one issue.
They can
Okay, you literally have wasted an hour and a half, and they can talk about one issue. One issue. They can talk about one issue. This has gone on so far for an hour and a half. They can talk about one issue. What the hell? No! People vote on issues. They vote on issues. They vote on issues. All right, let's let them talk about one issue.
Either talk about the poor Democratic issue that they feel strongly about and want to talk about, or if they feel that there is one issue that you have to believe in, one position that you have to take to run as a Democrat in this race, you are welcome to talk about that issue. I'm letting people know it is 7:30, and I know you all like to use your cards, but we are now reducing the number of cards to 4 so that we get to talk about enough different things. So everyone now has to give me one card because it was meant to be 4 and 5 when we went to 15. Everyone has to give me one. Thank you. Okay. Can you get that side for me? Okay. So last time we went every other to the right, and I was standing over here. Who would like to go first on this side? Anyone? George. This time we are going every other to the left. So we're going that way every other. That makes sense? We're going to go George and then Molly. 30 seconds. Your one core Democratic issue you want to talk about. You will have one more chance to give a 30-second something, and you can spend cards. One core Democratic issue.
To run as a Democrat, you have to believe in X. You have to believe in the rule of law. Because with the Trump administration, we are
Such a mistake.
The rule of law.
Such a mistake. That is such a mistake. That is not a core Democratic issue. That is not an issue that Democrats are voting on. Democrats are voting on progressive policy positions that help them. Have you not yet learned?
Never in our history in this nation have we been so at risk. So we need to send people to Congress who are strong, who are knowledgeable, experienced, who will stand up for the rule of law.
I'll agree with him on one thing. We do need to send people to Congress who are strong. But not in what he says. I have strong policy positions. What are his policy positions?
I'm running because we need policies
All right, this is Molly Sheehan. She's going to talk about policy.
that improve the economic stability of people's lives. The number one thing we can do for people's lives is provide universal single-payer health care.
Woo! She said it. Universal single-payer health care. Medicare for all. She said it. Anyone else say it yet? By the way, this is the second time she said it. And look at that person in the right. Look at their face. They seem happy? No.
Someone who works in healthcare, I know that we need people at the helm of this who understand the intricacies. And then insurance also isn't healthcare. We need to expand providers. You have to drive 2 hours to see a doctor. You don't really have healthcare. If drugs aren't developed in women and women have all these adverse effects and the drugs don't really work for them, you don't really have healthcare. And we need to make sure that we're moving to a payment system that really works by reducing healthcare costs. And I have a real plan. I have a real plan to implement single-payer healthcare, one that takes in the jobs economy in this area that is so heavily dominated by healthcare, one that makes sure that doctors and nurses and all the staff still get paid really well. I want to make sure that we don't induce an austerity of care and that we put up political firewalls from the same misogynists in Congress that are saying pregnancy is a pre-existing condition are not being decided what is normal.
So I care about gun violence prevention. I care about the environment. I care about healthcare. I want to lead on all these things. But one thing that I think as Democrats we need to
So this is Dan Maroff speaking, and he's going to apparently talk about some policy, it seems like. I'm not really sure, but let's see.
make sure that we don't give short shrift to working people, and also the security that we have committed over the past 70 years as a sort of a deal that we've made with America. That is to say that we have Social Security, that we have Medicare, Medicaid, we have a safety net, but we also have something for people to look forward to. If I talk to young people today, that we talk about all the time. Okay, well, no, I'm going to save my money. Social Security is going to go away. Won't be there.
I literally don't understand what he said, but it sounded somewhat intelligent. And this is, I think, Ashley Lunkenheimer coming up to talk.
I know that was my reason anyway. My core issue is our children. I think that having children is the greatest act of optimism that we can do. And if we need to leave a better world.
Her core issue is having children? Sorry, how is that an issue? What's your position on children? Oh, I'm for them. Oh my God, what? Who couldn't be for kids? They're cute and adorable and nice and fun. Okay, I get it, but what do you want the kids to not work in factories? Yeah, I don't want kids to work in factories either. What is your policy position on children, by the way?
For our children, they need to be safe. They need to have good education. They need to have health care so that they can go on to have jobs.
Those are other issues that you're bringing into children. Those are real issues.
So everything we do as a people, we have a responsibility. They're the ones standing up right now. They're the voices to power right now, and we need them, and they need us.
I'm sorry, that's not an issue. What?
Thank you. I'm running because I basically live through what some of you just read about. We talk about gun violence in our communities, what happened in Florida.
So this guy, Thaddeus Kirkland, is talking about gun violence, which really isn't much of a surprise. It's an issue, especially in Philadelphia, and even in mainline schools. Because when I went to high school in the suburbs of Philadelphia, there were gun threats. And I went to Radnor High School. There were bomb threats.
And a lot of folks don't understand what really happened. We didn't just lose a number of young persons. We lost generations to come. Many of those young persons did not have the opportunity to work with a child. And so therefore we lost generation after generation. And so I'm running because I want to make gun violence reduction, and I want to make sure that we remove weapons of war, because that's what they are. Weapons of war from these stores, from these racks, and move them out of our country. Because our young people, we're losing young people each and every day. It's not enough to talk about. What we just experienced in Florida. I've talked to some young people in my district, and I tell the educators, we have to, although this was a lemon situation, we have to learn how to make lemonade out of it. And that means take the reins and walk with these young people as they stand against gun violence and as they stand against weapons of war.
Oh, shoot. Hold on, you guys. So I just wanted to say something. Apparently, there's been a shooting at Michigan Central University, and the shooter is apparently still at large. So, I hope you all, I guess, take note of that. And getting back to the actual video, Marlo Davidson is now speaking about her core issue. Whatever that is.
Economic and social justice. I believe what Gandhi said, that poverty is the greatest evil perpetrated against mankind. It affects everything. It affects our health care. It affects our right to choose. It affects everything, our education system.
She's talking about the issue of economic and social justice, which it's an issue, but what is your issue? What are you trying to see occur?
Why is it that poor children and children of color are relegated to the worst schools and unsafe neighborhoods? Because people don't care. So economic justice is very important, and that's what I'm fighting for. The other thing, I'm going to give you a card. I've been in the forefront of the movement for hashtag Time's Up. I have Time's Up legislation in Harrisburg. Every woman should be able to go to work, school, and in their home in safety. We should not be harassed, we should not be abused, and we should not be subjected to the horrible conditions that women have had to face in silence for centuries. Hashtag Time's Up.
My issue is jobs. Jobs.
All right, this is Daniel Boyle. His issue is jobs. Good. I guess.
Jobs. More jobs, better paying jobs. A livable minimum wage, $15.
I'm glad he's for a livable minimum wage of $15 an hour, but let's check something from it. With inflation, by 2020, a livable minimum wage would be $23 an hour. I think we need 23 or 25 as a minimum wage per hour. People, no one's saying that, but I think that we need that, and that's something that actually I'm going to bring up a little bit later after I go through this whole thing.
$15 an hour, absolute. You take the super elite, the super rich. They have no idea what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. Work 2-3 jobs, work 12, 15, 20 hours a day to be scared about losing your house. How are you going to feed your family? These are all vital issues. Now, how are we going to do this? As I said, I'm not only an attorney, I'm a businessman, okay? I have my Master of Laws and Taxation. I studied the Internal Revenue Code. Okay, that was part of my job is to figure out how finances should be, how they should be determined, how they can be created, how it can benefit us. In order to provide more jobs, we can provide, one thing is the infrastructure. We need to create better infrastructure. This haggling with having crumbling roads, crumbling infrastructure, we're reactionary. We cannot be reactionary. We must be proactive, okay? I know how. The Internal Revenue, if we look at the first tax return, I have a copy of it. It is so simple. It is a basic one-page form, okay? This now takes a team of tax attorneys, specially trained individuals, file returns now. And it's all done for the benefit of the lobbyists and the large corporations. I know. I've been asked to provide guidance and advice. And what happens is, it should be simplified. They should be made to pay a higher rate. How much money do these people need? How many millions and billions of dollars? I know individuals that have not worked for 6 generations of individuals not having to work because they have so much money. They couldn't spend the money, they could not spend all the interest they make in 1 month, okay? This is completely irrational, it's immoral, and we need to do something about it. We need to create more jobs, and we need to do this now. Thank you.
Okay.
I know it's getting long. I don't know where to start. Where to start this round? With chores. On every other. I know.
don't know what's happening yet. I guess they're going over something. No. Looks like Mary Ellen is starting, and then they're going to move over to the next people.
As a college professor, I'm really concerned about gun safety. We can't send our children
So Mary Ellen, her issue is gun safety.
to school. We can't send them to a movie theater. We can't send them to a concert. I'm a Million Mile Marcher. I marched in 2000 after Columbine. I thought things would get better. We lost a Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. We had Sandy Hook, and this Congress did nothing. If you're serious about gun safety, you need to change this Congress. And I'm also, as a college professor, interested in the high.
And I do agree with her. We do need to change this Congress, especially if you're serious about gun safety. Here's the thing. A lot of our people are owned by whoever represents them. She apparently seems to be not owned by anyone, which is reasonable and good. That's a huge thing, and that's a good reason to potentially support her if you choose to support her. I do think, though, until we really get money out of politics, period, we're not going to see change on many issues unless we get people in there that are not bought. So it is important to support people that are not bought. And whoever you choose for that to be, let it be one of these people that is not bought. Because if they're not bought, you can push them in one way, shape, or form on another issue, which is a pretty good thing. So that's what I'll kind of talk about for her.
Interest rates on student loans. I've seen students graduate with $100,000 in debt. It's an upside. Thank you.
So, as I was speaking before, I've been an environmental activist my whole life, so the environment is very important to me. When they were going to put an ash dump on Township Line, on Jacksonville and Howard Township, I spoke at the DER meeting against that terrible idea, and like that giant food store, that shopping center there, a lot better than a toxic ash dump. When they were going to overdevelop along the Springton Reservoir, our water source, I spoke at the DER meeting against that overdevelopment. So I've always been active grassroots environmental movements here in Delaware County my entire adult life. I'm a public school teacher, so obviously I care a great deal about education. I helped the unionization process at Omni Charter in the first year of that attempt. They persevered after I left, and they finally did unionize there. I congratulate them. So I know how important it is to have the right to unionize and have to protect the quality of our education and
So this is just breaking. My chapter of Our Revolution actually endorses Molly Sheehan for the PA-5 Congressional District. And I am so happy about that. I can't. So happy about that. Well, let's listen to this Larry Arata guy talk some more.
My wife and I lost our son, 23-year-old son, in December of '79 to an overdose. And that's why I'm running for office, is because I formed, we formed Opioid Crisis Action Network to lobby organizations to do something about this issue. And we researched, we talked to doctors, we talked to drug addiction counselors, we talked to insurance executives at IBC, and we're still doing that. And the more and more we talk to these people, the more we learn, the more frustrated we got with the lip service that this issue is getting. And I intend to solve this issue and be part of a network that solves this issue as an activist, whether I win or not. So we need to solve this biggest health crisis that this nation has ever had. And we need to do it together.
Let's solve the health crisis with universal health care. You didn't say that, though, did you?
I'm running because I'm tired of hearing politicians and representatives continuing to say, I'm going to fight for.
So this is Shelley Chauncey, the person that was appointed basically by the DCC and the DNC. She's going to talk about how apparently she's sick of politicians playing the game.
This person that doesn't have health insurance. I'm going to fight for this person who doesn't have a good.
Now listen to her language. She's going to talk and fight for people who don't have health insurance. So let's listen.
Good job. I'm going to fight for this person who isn't able to go to a good school. I am that person. As a cancer survivor, I know personally what it means to live in fear every day of losing your health insurance and your family going bankrupt because you don't have the money to pay for it. I live personally every day, paycheck to paycheck, to make sure that my children had food on their table. I am sick and tired of politicians in Washington and locally who are trying to represent us when they have no idea what we live every day, when they have no idea what it means to live paycheck to paycheck. I'm tired of the wealthy elite who can come in and fund their
This so seems proctored. I'm sorry, but go on.
campaign with hundreds of thousands of dollars and think that it's okay to pretend that they can talk about what it's like to be a citizen of this district and of this state and of this country, but they have no idea. And until they've had to sit in the lobby of the intermediate unit of Delaware County to beg and plead for services for their child who has special needs, and 6 months later that child still does not have services. This is unacceptable to me. It is unacceptable to me that we have people who are our friends and our relatives who are dying every day because they don't have health insurance that is able to save their life.
But she's still not saying universal health care, single payer, Medicare for all. Still not saying it.
They were not as lucky as I was. They were not able to have quality health insurance, the same health insurance that your congressional representatives and members of Senate have. That is fundamentally unfair.
This is Julie Ebel. That's going to talk.
Yes. So I think the number one and the reason that I'm running is integrity, the lack thereof in Congress and in this administration.
Her issue is integrity. I don't even understand what that means. But go on, let's talk a little bit about integrity and see how that helps the rural white person living near a cow pasture that can't seem to get health care or can't have more than 49 employees, because if they do, they have to give health insurance to all of their employees. I'm sure that integrity is their issue too.
I know that when you get into business, it's difficult. I myself have been tested, and I can say that I'm very proud to have a very strong track record of integrity. If we have people in Congress who would speak the truth to us, even if we didn't like to hear it, we could deal with it. But the lies we cannot deal with, and it really has got to stop. And I think it starts with reforming our campaign system. People can't afford $4,000, $4 million, $10 million to run a campaign. This should be about electing the people who are the best for the job, regardless of how much money they have. And I do also want to say that I thoroughly agree, Matt, that we need jobs. I'm very proud of my record of having creative jobs in Delaware County. I think this is where the beginning of leveling the economy is to have good paying jobs for people. And I think that although balancing the budget is a difficult task with all of the things we want to accomplish, I think that we can do it. I think that if we put our mind down to it, we can figure out how to balance.
Running for Congress because right now in the White House we have a president who's a sociopath.
Oh dear God, Richard, is that your Democratic issue? Seriously. This is Richard Laser speaking. He's going to talk about the president and how apparently that's such an issue.
The Republican Party that is enabling him.
And the Republican Party that's enabling him is an issue, too. Such an issue.
To do these things. It's a break of our democracy. Every day, working families are being.
Where is the issue that you're talking about that's going to help the motherfucking people?
Sorry about that. Every day we have working families in this country that are living paycheck to paycheck. In Washington, we have folks where big banks are being chosen over working families, the NRA over our kids, and insurance companies over people. And it's a sickening thing. And I want to say one thing, and I don't want to bring this up. Yeah. There's a case in front of the Supreme Court right now, the Jess case, and it's extremely important to everybody in this room. That case, the way everybody thinks it's going to come out, is that public sector unions are going to be gutted by this Supreme Court, and they're going to be all taken out. And they're right now, when I was in Philadelphia, and we worked with the PFT to get them a fair contract after 5 years finally. These are the folks that are teaching our children, and we need to make sure that they have fair working conditions and they can collectively. And right now, in this country, that's going to be taken away from them. I'm running for Congress to be part of the resistance, and I want everybody in this room to hopefully support me so we can run a progressive agenda. And Medicare for all, that's extremely important.
I decided to run for Congress on
So this is Lindy Lee. She's going to be strong, and props to her.
December 14, 2012. 20 first graders and 6 teachers were senselessly slaughtered. December 14th is also my birthday, and I just remember being eternally scarred. When did we decide it's okay for our children to be murdered like that? This is not a status quo that I'm willing to resign myself to. There's an episode in The Simpsons, and the gun shop owner talks to the person coming up to their front desk, and
okay, I gotta admit, I do like that she's talking about the Simpsons. I think that's kind of cool. So that may actually attract some millennials.
I try to buy a gun, says, I need a gun today, right now. And the shop owner says, you can't. You have to wait 3 days. And the guy trying to buy a gun says, 3 days? I can't wait 3 days. And that's the entire point. We need common sense gun violence prevention measures.
So her issue is common sense gun prevention measures, which is a cool issue, I guess.
I'm running because facts matter, and there seems to be a real.
This is Mary Gay Scanlon, and she is running because facts. So, hey, millennial about to graduate from college. Can you afford to run? Can you afford to live with all your debt? You got a job set up yet? Oh, wait, no? Oh, you're not going to have health care? Oh, man. But facts.
The facts in DC right now. Okay, the fact is that Hillary won the popular vote.
Oh, God, you're talking about the news. Don't talk about Hillary. She lost to Trump. She lost to the most unpopular person to run for president ever. Oh, my God. Do not talk about her.
The fact is that the Republicans have worked very hard through their red map strategy to undermine our democratic institutions, with whether it's through gerrymandering or strict voter ID or other attempts to marginalize a lot of voters who happen to be Democrats. I'm running because facts matter with respect to immigrants. Okay, we represent a lot of immigrants in my firm who have come to this country because they are hardworking and they're seeking a better life. And I'm running because the fact is we do not have enough women in Congress.
She's running because we don't have enough women in Congress, which is true. But come on now. Hillary Clinton was a woman running for president. She didn't win based on her genitalia. Neither will you. Do you have a policy position that is good for the people? What is that policy position? What do you want to see happen? What are you going to try to accomplish? Gee.
Okay. Giving me a couple parts, so that's 90 seconds.
I'm sorry, Larry, I just want to thank you for sharing your story. I hadn't heard about that, and I'm so sorry. And thank you. So I'm a little knocked off my base here. So I've been a Peace Corps volunteer teaching English to
This is David Wertheim speaking, and he's going to talk about his issue, whatever that is.
children, young folks from Chinese farming families. I've worked as a teacher with the AmeriCorps, reading to little boys and little girls in a Section 8 housing project in New Haven. I built a journalism business and helped to discover writers that nobody had paid attention to before, but are now superstars in their field. I've stood by my mom, hand in hand with her, as her disease has taken from her the ability to walk, to use her arms, to feed herself. So what do you have to believe to run as a Democrat? I think you have to believe the values that I learned from my teachers and my friends and my loved ones in this community, the values that I learned from you, that a special, unique light burns in each one of us, that each one of us is worthy of dignity and respect and investment from the community and from our government, and that we can't tolerate a government that sees us as cost centers, because we're not. We're human beings. We're vulnerable, we're imperfect, sometimes we fall, but we're worth it. Thank you.
I think the quality and the passion.
Hold on 1 second, guys. So, I don't know. I don't think he's going to have a chance, but let's let the event continue, and I'll talk more about how I feel.
Of the 15 people we have running for Congress here tells us why our room is overflowing and why the resistance and the party have grown so much in strength over the last. If anyone needs to stretch up front or in the audience, get a drink, get a snack. It's okay, you can. Okay. How many cards do you all have left? Because that's how we can judge time. 1. How many? 3, George? Wow, 1. Any merit? 0. 0. So I have 90. 1.5, 2, 3, 3.5, 4, 5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10, 11, 11.5, 12.5, 13 minutes of speeches left. Okay, I'm going to let people shift if anyone wants a seat. That's subversive. Okay.
All right.
Yes, me what?
Looks there's a bit of a break or something. This
Yes.
seems like such a joke.
I'm not thinking I'm going to the bathroom.
Let's try to move slower.
Folks, or all 3 aisles, raise your hands if you have an envelope. Someone over there, Linda, Alyssa, go down the middle aisle. If you want to donate something to this venture, it will allow us to do more things.
What?
If you don't,
No, you're supported by the DNC.
so we thank you, and no one is obligated, but we wanted to give you
Let's move on, okay?
House who joined Republicans backing the measure. The bill raises military and domestic spending by almost $300 billion over the next 2 years, including nearly $90 billion in disaster aid for Texas, Florida, California, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The federal government's debt limit will also be extended until March 2019. Speaker Nancy Pelosi spoke on the House floor for an unprecedented almost 8 hours.
Because she was pushed forward by immigrants to do so.
For members to vote against the bill. However, Senator Chuck Schumer, who crafted the deal, praised it for including funding for education infrastructure, fighting drug abuse and medical research, and increasing it for the first time in years. The bill included funding CHIP and increased spending for treatment of opioid addiction, treatment and prevention. However, the bill fails to protect young people known as dreamers or DACA recipients whose protection was due to expire on March 5th. When they voted, it was due to expire on March 5th until the board voted for that bill. How many people would have voted for that bill? Quietly. How many people would have
Of
voted
course, you
no
can't
for
even
that bill?
see where they're.
Put your hands down. I will show the candidates your votes after they vote. This is an up-down vote. There is no discussion until everyone votes. You can show your eye. You can look at that. Hey, candidates. How many, this bill, Jamie Malley, this bill happened in Congress. How many of you would have voted for that bill? Put your hand, actually, could you stand up and put your hands up high? People in the back can't see you. That is Kirkland and Shelley Johnson. And how many of you would have voted against the bill?
So Thaddeus Kirkland and Shelley Chauncey would have voted for the bill that didn't have DACA in it. Do not vote for them. Do not vote for Shelley Chauncey or Thaddeus Kirkland. Just don't.
Everyone else. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for voting. Not a single waffle. Audience, show waffle. I'm sorry, George. Waffle. Okay.
Okay, George Beatty apparently put his waffle up. So he would abstain. Do not vote for George Beatty.
You can, after you see the audience vote, you can spend your card. Audience, show the candidates how many of you would have voted for the bill. How many of you would have voted against the bill? Thank you. And George, you are spending the card to talk about your waffle.
I waffled on that because I think it's important to realize that an effective member of Congress is going to be somebody who's persuasive, who has experience and knowledge of government, who's been around for a long time, as I've been. And I think when you get down there, compromise is vital.
Compromise is not vital. Compromise is the issue. Democrats compromise too much with the Republicans, and as such, George Beatty's actually had this conversation with me. He said, the problem with the Democratic Party is we've moved to the right, as the Republican Party has moved to the right. So the left is left for no party. So you want to compromise more. I'm not supporting George Beatty, but please don't vote for him.
So,
if you value any type of progressive change, do not vote for George Beatty. He will compromise.
Some of the things there I agree with, other things I feel strongly against. But I think it's important that it's hard to do it black and white on this kind of an issue. But I think it's important to be able to compromise. That's what's so poorly missed in Washington now, and it's part of the gerrymander. So, did I use my...
No, there's been too much compromise. That's part of the issue. That actually is a major issue because all these candidates that have been elected and maybe some that are running are associated with the DCC and the DNC. Maybe yourself. Are you? I don't know. I'm just saying these are some issues, right? We don't need someone that's going to compromise on a policy position. We don't need someone that's going to not stand up for people that can't stand up for themselves. We need someone that's going to stand up for them.
30 seconds? All right, thank you.
I think that when we allow our government
So this is Molly Sheehan speaking.
to hold the human rights of certain groups of people hostage for a budget, first we shouldn't be funding our government with short-term budget measures to begin with. And then the Republicans failed to do their job despite having the entire government under their control. And then held out the basic human rights of a group of people. I'm married to an immigrant. I'm in a majority minority household, I would say. And we can't allow our government to do this to people. It sets a horrible precedent to say that we can do whatever we want as long as, we're putting a budget to support with it.
Props. That. See those claps? See those claps?
Your hand next. Remember, we still have guns at home.
As someone who served in the House of Representatives for over
Oh, yeah. All right, let's listen to Thaddeus.
24 years, you have to learn the art of compromise. You would hope that you can get everything that you go to the table to get. Unfortunately, that is not the way politics works. And so you live to fight another day. You get some things, you lose some things, but you continue to fight for the things that you know are right in the district.
Thank you.
I don't even understand what that man said. I just call him ludicrous, basically. To me, he kind of seems a little Ben Carson-y. Now, Mike is being passed to Shelley Chauncey. Let's hear her talk about this issue. And why she voted yes on this budget bill.
I first want to say that I don't disagree with anything that's been said already. But what I will say is in that bill, there was funding for CHIP, there was funding for U.S. Members of service and people, U.S. government employees who stood the risk of losing their jobs.
So basically what she's saying is I would have voted for this bill because I worked for the government. Remember, she was a member of, or she worked for the CIA. That's a government organization. So, last time I checked, that kind of means that you're bought and you're paid for. So, she would have voted for the bill because she cares about people in government. Because she's one of them.
And to me, it was holding one hostage group over holding another hostage group. Do we choose the Dreamers or do we choose the U.S.?
You choose none of them. You choose a better bill that includes everything.
U.S. government employees who are at risk of losing their jobs. And while I want
you choose everything.
to waffle like George, I ultimately decided that there were too many positive things in this bill, and that's why I voted yes.
I'm going to explain my no vote.
So this is Rich Laser. He's going to talk about why he voted no on this bill.
You know, immigrants and especially the Dreamers
would have.
Are part of our country. They're a part of our communities and makes us stronger. And to a lot of these Dreamers that served in the military, it's a disgrace. If they came over here with their parents and nannies, it would be a disgrace that we would send them back and not deal with this issue. This issue needs to be dealt with. And if we had to vote no to get that issue in front of it, to get that issue solved before it, because again, we are stronger by diversity.
So this is Lindy Lee now going to speak. I wanted to talk about mostly what he said for a quick second, and clearly he cares, so that's good, and I'm happy about that. Let's listen and see what Lindy will say.
There's some things you can never learn within the pages of a textbook. You have to suffer through it. You have to feel it. I know the pain of counting pennies. And so I view everything through the lens of fiscal responsibility. What happened to the deficit hawks? You know, all of a sudden, President Obama's gone. They don't care about blowing up the debt. And that's the angle that I took.
So I'm going to ask you the easy question on guns. I'm going to ask you the easy question on guns first. Ready? How many of you would agree today to not accept any funding, direct, or you have to stand up, direct or indirect, from the NRA? Someone take a picture of them, please. That's what we want to see out. Someone right in the middle. We're really clear in the 5th Congressional District that no one is going to take money from the NRS. Okay, now for the harder questions, because we don't want to make it easy for you.
Yes, you do.
When in Congress, if you have the opportunity to vote for a bill which in a meaningful and substantial way increased background checks, universal background checks, and prevented felons, terrorists, and domestic abusers from buying guns, and prohibited bump stocks, I'm having trouble with this one, but did not ban assault weapons or high-capacity magazines, would you vote for this bill?
You should say no.
Okay. You're ready to all vote? You don't want to get fine, vote. Would you vote for it? Do we have any no's among the candidates? Rich? Margot would not vote for it. Rich would not vote for it. David, would you vote for it? You would vote for it. Okay, look. Rich and Margot, you would not. Mary Ellen? You're waffling. Don't talk yet. I want you to go. So just so you know, next slide. Indivisible mainline south, 3 of us would have voted for it, 4 of us would have voted against it. And from the last bill, 3 of us switched positions, the yeses and no's, and it split a family. Audience, do you need me to repeat that? We voted for it. That bill included a lot of things, real universal background checks, no bump stocks, but it did not ban assault weapons. How many of you would have voted for it? How many of you would have voted against it? Interesting, right? And who would like to spend their money? Who has money left to spend to discuss their vote? Mary Ellen doesn't. This is anyone? Okay. Our final big question. It's complicated. Okay. This is from the New York Times. I didn't make it up. They're not my words. The title of the article was "The Best Healthcare System in the World. Which one would you pick?" It was published on September 18, 2017 in the New York Times. I quote, "Medicare for all, or single payer, is becoming a rallying cry for Democrats. This is often accompanied by calls to match the healthcare coverage of, quote, the rest of the world, quote. But this overlooks a crucial fact. The rest of the world is not all alike."
I'm sorry. Some 27 countries have a version of universal health care, Medicare for all. Yeah, they're all not the same, but they're a lot better than what we have. We have people being turned away from hospitals because they can't afford it. I'll be one of those in a couple of months if I can't get a job.
The commonality is universal coverage, but wealthy nations have taken varying approaches to it. Some rely heavily on the government, as with single payer, and some rely more on private insurers,
AKA the U.S.
Others in between. Next slide. There are 2 questions. Do you want the audience to vote first, or do you go, wait, do you guys just want to jump in? Just let you vote. The first question, 2 separate questions. Do you support access to affordable quality health care for all, what we all call universal health care? Audience, do you support universal health care? That's the easy question, right? Any no's? Anyone who doesn't support universal health care? Anyone who doesn't support universal health care? Okay. The second part of the question. Now this is kind of complicated, okay? Would you support incremental movement towards single payer? Incremental, or would you only support bills in Congress, positions that say, we will only vote for single-payer health care all at once. No in-between steps. I will only vote for single-payer health care and nothing else. Candidates, who among you supports incremental steps towards single-payer health care? Stand up so people can say incremental steps towards single-payer health care. Wow, you're unified on that too. Audience, incremental steps. Anyone here all at once? We should not vote yes for anything except single payer. The only thing, yes. Medicare for all is not that. Okay, I'm not. Okay, that's right. That's beyond the scope. Okay. Let's see. It's 8:10. We had a ton of other questions for you guys, but we skipped them all because you all talked a lot about yourselves. Who has cards left? Okay. So it's 8:10. Are you guys getting tired? Yes. No. Here's what I'm going to do. You get a final couple words. What you get to tell people is, I'm going to be hanging out. I have my petitions. Come talk to me about X. I'll give you a couple sentences, but not a whole 30 seconds. If you want to spend one card, if you have it, you can have another 15 minutes to bring you up to 30 seconds. 3, you saved 3, okay.
So we're getting
No. How many did you save cards? 2.
Right.
Okay, we're going to be here about another 20 minutes, guys. You
Oh my
gotta
God, come on.
But remember your audience. Yeah, we're gonna we sat through it all. I do want to remind people that both state house candidates, not just house, and candidates will be signing petitions. We are so thankful for all the people that helped us. I want you to know that people in the Democratic Party, people in the resistance groups were incredibly generous. People I had.
The resistance is what other people have said. It's the MIC resistance. It's not a resistance. There are 2 people. I just wanted to pause her because she's really needs to shut up. There's really, from what I saw today, 2 people here, maybe 3 people here that have stood out. That would be Molly Sheehan, Lindy Lee, and Mary Ellen Balkunas. Because it seems like to me they have shown how they are progressive. I don't think really any of the other candidates have much of a chance because I think they kind of just, I mean, Dan Murdoff is the other person I might pull in a little bit, but the other people, they need to go. They don't really have much of a chance at this point.
Never met. They returned our calls. They gave us feedback. They helped us get to our incredible sound system. Thank you, Chris. We could not have done this without him. And now you all, let's see. 30, skip forward, Holly. Okay. See, keep going. What would you like them to ask you about out there for the petition signing? And your last word. We've gone right every other, we've gone left every other, and I get confused if I make it too complicated. Is there someone who wants...
Start in the middle and work out.
Start in the middle, work out in order. Patty Suresh, who wants to go?
So it looks like Rich is about to speak, and he's going to say, ask me about something.
People to talk to you about, and 30 seconds if you're paying cards, give them to me all up front, and we'll tell people if you're paying me, tell me. 60 seconds.
I would love to ask you to ask me about any issues that are important to you. One thing that is extremely important to me is public service. I've done my whole career, which I'm only 32, but in my time at LaSalle and through my time with there, public service is extremely important to me. And serving others, I believe, truly makes you happy in life. So that's the goal. I want to serve this district. I want to serve the people in this room. I want to represent you in Congress. I look forward to speaking with you hopefully after this and also to get to know you better. Thank you so much. And have a great night. Thank you for coming again. Thank you for everybody that was here and your organization.
Thank you.
Once again, thank all of you for being here tonight.
60 seconds.
Simply listening to us. If I would ask you to ask me something about myself or what you would like me to talk about, would be, I would ask you to ask me about my commitment And also, I would like to ask me about my service and my dedication, along with my longevity. Once again, I've been a member of the House of Representatives for 23 years.
All right, I'm sorry. I think I'm going to end this because I don't think it's that important to really talk more about what you'd like to ask them about or what any of that. So as I said, it really seems like there's going to be 3 people that stand out in this PA 5th congressional race. That's Molly Sheehan, Lindy Lee, and Mary Ellen Balkunis. I would consider looking into any of those 3. And those 3 are really, to me, the only ones very, very much worth considering and voting for in this congressional district race. I will reach out to Lindy Lee's campaign. I've tried via Twitter. I'll try as well via her email. And Mary Ellen Balkunis, I'll try to reach out to her as well. I know, I believe I know her campaign director, or whatever the word is. But, so let me end there and put in another side note that tomorrow at Ludington Public Library in Bryn Mawr, PA, there's going to be an actual candidate forum, because that was kind of a waste of time, to be honest, and I'm so sorry that I wasted your time. But tomorrow, from 12 to 2, I will be recording a candidate forum that's put on at Ludington Public Library by HCAN, I believe, where the requirement for any of the candidates that are coming is they have to have explicit policy positions listed, I think, on their website of healthcare and money in politics. If they don't have those two things listed on their website, they can't go. They aren't going to be there, apparently. And I'm really looking forward to this because I'm hoping that 100% after this, I'll be entirely sure that I'm supporting Molly Sheehan, who I've been planning on supporting in this race. Sorry. But anyway, so look out for that video. That will be up probably maybe late Saturday, maybe sometime on Sunday, given the storm that we're experiencing. I'm not really sure what's going to happen. But we'll see what happens with this. And, yeah. So I hope you all have a good rest of your day. And I may go move my car because it's snowing. I hope you all have a good night or a good day wherever you are in the U.S. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy. Have a good day.